Hello everyone and welcome to my CSU channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chrisley Knows Best fans share Chrisley family's criminal roots. Chrisley Knows Best fans have become very invested in the family's criminal roots and are now sharing them. This comes on the heels of Chase Chrisley getting arrested for assault. Not only was he arrested, but he also had a smirky mugshot taken, which was revealed to the public. So, what trail of problems has the family left like breadcrumbs? Keep reading for more details. Chrisley Knows Best fans share family's criminal roots. It has been a rough 2 years for the Chrisley Knows Best family. They have been in the spotlight due to Todd and Julie Chrisley's legal problems. The couple was sentenced to a collective 19 years behind bars due to fraud. They were sentenced in November 2022 and started serving in January 2023. Unfortunately for Todd and Julie, they were placed in separate prisons. He is in Florida, whereas she is in Kentucky, making it hard for their children to keep up with visitation. Savannah Chrisley has been doing her best to raise her younger siblings, Chloe and Grayson. However, Todd and Julie are not the only ones in the Chrisley family who have done wrong and landed themselves in hot water. Kyle Chrisley, who is Todd's oldest son from his first marriage, has been the most notable family member, having been in and out of trouble for years. He had a plethora of problems, including substance abuse, mental health issues, and more. Additionally, he is Chloe's biological father, but he and her mother could not provide the life she needed, leading Todd and Julie to step up. Of course, a fan on Reddit did a deep dive into the Chrisley family's criminal history, and it runs deep. The OP shared some fun facts. It was noted that Chrisley Knows Best alum, Chase Chrisley, had allegedly tried to extort his sister with a sex tape in the past. Now he has a mugshot to go along with his parents and his brother Kyle's. After seeing the deep criminal history that follows the family, what did followers have to say? Yes, it was questioned where Nanny fell into all of this. Someone pointed out she always had a get-rich-quick scheme every episode, but does that make her bad? Not necessarily. At the end of the day, many think the Chrisley kids are still very entitled and have very little sympathy for them. It does not seem, in Chase's case, that he has learned anything from what his parents are going through. The Chrisley family built a brand on Southern charm, quick-witted humor, and their glossy, picture-perfect lifestyle showcased on Chrisley Knows Best. But as time has proven, behind the luxury cars, designer wardrobes, and perfectly staged family dinners lurked secrets that would eventually tear their public image apart. Now, as Todd and Julie Chrisley continue to serve time in federal prison for bank fraud and tax evasion, fans have begun connecting the dots, pointing out that this isn't the family's first brush with trouble. Across online forums and social media, discussions about the Chrisleys' criminal roots are gaining traction, and the details are more twisted than many realized while the show was airing. The perfect facade that couldn't last. When Chrisley Knows Best debuted in 2014, it quickly gained a cult following. Viewers couldn't get enough of Todd Chrisley's biting one-liners, Julie's patience, Savannah's charm, and Chase's goofy antics. The family projected an image of wealth and influence that felt both aspirational and entertaining. But fans now claim that in hindsight, many of those over-the-top lifestyle flexes seemed too good to be true. From Todd's endless designer suits to their million-dollar mansions in Georgia and Tennessee, viewers now question whether the luxury they flaunted was always built on shaky financial ground. In fact, court records reveal that by the time the cameras started rolling, the Chrisleys were already under scrutiny for questionable financial dealings. Fans digging through old interviews and press clippings point out that Todd's real estate empire had collapsed years before, with multiple bankruptcies and lawsuits quietly following in the family's wake. Todd's history of legal troubles. Before Chrisley Knows Best turned Todd into reality TV royalty, he was known as a flashy real estate developer. But behind the gated communities and high-profile deals, financial missteps piled up. In 2012, Todd filed for bankruptcy, claiming nearly $50 million in debt. Fans now see that filing as the first real crack in the carefully curated image of a self-made millionaire. During his bankruptcy case, it was revealed that he maintained an extravagant lifestyle even as creditors came after him. Lavish spending on luxury cars, expensive clothing, and private jet trips painted a picture of someone living far beyond their means. Now argue that the bankruptcy was more than just a business collapse. It was an early sign of the criminal roots that would later lead to federal convictions. Julie Chrisley's role under fire. While Todd has always been the more outspoken face of the family, Julie Chrisley wasn't immune from fame criticism. Once portrayed as the sweet, level-headed matriarch holding everyone together, her conviction alongside Todd shocked many. During the couple's trial, prosecutors argued that Julie had helped submit false documents and played an active role in their tax evasion scheme. Fans now revisit Chrisley Knows Best episodes with a more skeptical eye. Her calm demeanor, they say, may have masked a much deeper involvement in the family's financial web. One fan wrote online, "Julie came off as the moral compass of the family, but clearly she wasn't blind to what was happening. She benefited from it just as much as Todd." The kids and controversies. Although Todd and Julie were the ones convicted, fans believe the younger Chrisleys weren't untouched by the family's questionable history. Chase Chrisley was often depicted as the lovable screw-up on the show, but in recent years he's faced accusations of financial mismanagement, shady business ventures, and unpaid debts. Fans have started to question whether he inherited his father's habit of cutting corners to stay ahead. Savannah Chrisley is perhaps the most outspoken of the siblings since her parents' imprisonment. She has taken on the role of guardian for younger brother Grayson and niece Chloe. However, critics argue that her efforts to defend Todd and Julie publicly only highlight how deeply denial runs in the family. Lindsay Chrisley, Todd's estranged daughter, has repeatedly clashed with her father and distanced herself from the family brand. Some fans see her separation as proof that she recognized the cracks in the facade early on, while others believe she simply didn't want to get caught up in the chaos. Kyle Chrisley, another estranged son, has battled his own legal and personal issues, including arrests related to drugs and domestic incidents. Fans now cite Kyle's struggles as yet another thread in the family's long history of trouble. The fallout and fan reactions. Since Todd and Julie reported to prison in 2023, the Chrisley family dynamic has been under a microscope. With Savannah using her podcast to air grievances and fight for her parents' appeal, fans are split between sympathy and skepticism. On one hand, loyal supporters believe Todd and Julie were unfairly targeted, victims of a system that made an example out of reality TV stars. On the other, critics argue that the Chrisleys were architects of their own downfall, pointing to years of financial deception as proof. Reddit threads and TikTok commentary are flooded with fans pointing out old Chrisley Knows Best clips that feel more ironic now than funny. In one scene, Todd warns his children about the importance of honesty, while in another, he brags about outsmarting his way through life. Fans argue that the show itself unwittingly documented the arrogance that fueled their eventual collapse. Are the criminal roots deeper than we think? The phrase criminal roots isn't just about Todd and Julie's convictions. Some fans speculate that the Chrisleys' entire rise to fame was built on bending the rules. From alleged business scams to manipulative media spins, the family seems skilled at turning chaos into opportunity. Supporters argue that Todd's charisma allowed him to skate past accountability for years, and that Chrisley Knows Best was less a reality show than a smokescreen, a way to cement his image as a successful family man while covering financial cracks behind the scenes. What comes next for the Chrisleys? The Chrisley empire may be fractured, but it isn't gone. Savannah continues to keep her parents' names in headlines. Chase is still active on social media, and even estranged siblings find ways to capitalize on the family's notoriety. For fans who once adored them, the ongoing saga feels like a slow-motion train wreck, proof that even the most glamorous reality TV families can't escape the consequences of their actions.